Hello, we are live. I am Penny Douglas.
I am Gary Douglas.
And Gary is back from
Yes, I
Dallas.
am.
He
Yes, I
is
am.
here. He won't be going back to a job in
Are you
Dallas.
shorter than me, or should I drop my chair down a little bit?
I'm shorter than you,
Huh? Are you? Okay.
but I can sit up straighter.
Okay. You sit up straight. There we go.
So we have been thinking about the importance of a father
Yes.
in the presence of a dad, a male, in the
Yes.
home. We have experienced firsthand how it is to not have the father in the home because of a job taking him away.
Imagine that.
For a year and a half, he had to work in Dallas.
Yeah.
And it looks like somebody is here, but I don't see any names or anything. Do you have anybody on your page?
Which one's mine?
Your buddies are not here yet. You're there, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I have 3 people. Hello, people. So, I looked up a few statistics of what it's like for kids who don't have fathers in the home, even though that wasn't our case. But we wanted to talk about how important it is that fathers are in the home and that they... Betty! Hi, Betty! I see her picture. I recognized that she was there. Thank you for joining. Gary is home with us now. He was working in Dallas and had to be gone all week long and just was able to come home on weekends. So
yeah, that was harsh.
So we're glad to have him back. And so I looked at the statistics of what happens to kids when they don't have a dad, you know, like all together, and it's pretty bad for them. A lot of violence among kids who don't have a dad in the home. They don't have a role model, a male role model. And a woman, a mom, just can't be a dad. And the mom can do all the nurturing and be loving and gentle and sweet, but the kids also need a balance of having a father who is rougher with them, challenges them more, encourages them to take more risks, which I never liked that part of it, but I knew that was important for them. But Gary has had a chance to not only father our 10 children and be a male role model in their lives, but he had opportunity to really speak into the lives of some young men there at the YMCA in Dallas. And so why don't you tell a little bit about how that was and your thoughts about that?
It just seems peculiar in a lot of instances where, for me, all of a sudden you'll hear someone talk, or there'll be a connection. You'll feel a draw. A lot of people in street ministry, stuff like that, they tell you about that. Tell you to listen to that intuition, to that draw that you have to someone, because that usually means there's some connectivity. There's something there, you know. Issues of finding those of kindred spirit are usually just opportunities to speak into someone's life. It's always been a theme of mine to never leave anything undone, to do what you can with what you can, you know, as much as you can, wherever you're at. And there was this one particular young man that I have been speaking into his life for a long time, and there's been some others that, you know, various times have come and gone, and got a chance to speak, you know, just the basic fundamentals, a lot of things about what is written, you know, the laws and principles of life, the things that we take for granted of what is written, you know, on the Word of God and all that. I mean, a lot of people just don't get it, they miss it, and a lot of times all you got to do is put it in your own terms, or put it in a way, you know, that people can understand it, that they can get into it. And I didn't know anything about this young man's background at all, for example. All I knew is that, you know, it was just odd the way that he was going at. I could tell he hasn't been working out before, and he was just getting into this. And they say the young man's like 15, 16 years of age, and
he was there with his grandma.
Yeah, his grandma was actually taking him there and all, which is pretty cool. And another individual that I befriended there, the YMCA, a man by the name of Brian.
Hi, Coral.
He was, helping this young man out too, and just, as an instructor, you got to pay those people, but he was helping him out.
Personal
for
trainer?
Free. Yeah, personal trainer.
For
He
free?
was helping him out for free because, he
couldn't pay.
No, he believes, the same as I do, that you get out of life what you put into it. A lot of people don't take this, for example, what I told him. Keep this in mind. Principle of life. There's a law, sowing and reaping, and it works all across the board because fundamentally it goes by the principle of life, and the principle of life basically declares that what you have said, what you have done, that you get back an equivalent of what comes back to you. It returns to you. There's a return. It's reflective. There's even something in physics that deal with basically reflexive energy. It's there. It does exist, and it is a fundamental. It's a principle of life. We were told about this in the gospel, but a lot of people don't catch it. They don't get it. And this is one of these things that I was telling them about. I said they're principles. I said principles are something that can be applied all across the board, and it doesn't matter what it is. It still works. Laws, they kind of deal with particular areas. They have their limitations, but I told them, I said there's things like that have been around forever, and I said it's kind of funny people think of terms in natural, dimensional, that only deals with the physical realm. And we got to talking about that, interesting enough. And there was a lot of other people listening. And I said, isn't it funny? I said, our culture has this issue where we think we can deal with someone in the sense of what is mental or physical alone. And then we think we've helped them, we've covered it all. But yet, things still stay broken.
Yeah.
Whether physiological, psychological, whether by the means of what is medical, there's still something there that's missing. And told him, I said, you know what? Even according to the Greeks, I said man was tripartite. I said, no, if they can see that in the time where they came from, why is this culture that's supposed to be so advanced can't deal with the same thing?
What are the three parts?
Deals with body, soul, and spirit.
And we want to deny the spirit
Yep.
part of it.
Oh yeah.
Our culture does.
Yeah. There is a. If you're awake, if you've seen and you've heard of what's going on, it's kind of funny. There's so much substitution, but of the truth. So they create a bunch of walking statistics, and it's easier to manipulate and control people who have been desensitized to that which is right and wrong, to those that basically have been through a lot of things they're ashamed of. They're easily controlled, and that's why a lot of things I think they're told or they're encouraged to make a lot of mistakes, and to me that's not advancing. That's not, if you want to make a gain, you got to take a risk, but that doesn't mean to compromise what is already known to be destructive. Issues of lifestyle, definitely. And for me to get a chance to talk to this young man about a lot of this stuff, it was impacting. I mean, there was another young gentleman that showed up in the gym, and he had talked about some things being, that were self-reliant to some extent, didn't require maintenance or whatever. And I told told him, I said, well, there's a problem with that. And he said, really, what's the problem? I guess he was considering engineering or something. And I told him, I said, well, the issue is that if you think something really doesn't ever going to require any kind of fault isolation, that it's going to be trouble maintenance free, I said, you're only fooling yourself. I said, unless you're looking to deal with quote unquote the resident expert, when really, I told him, I said, all you do is have to put forth a little extra effort. And I said, you can be more self-reliant. I said, why should you be dependent on waiting for somebody to show up when you could replace the circuit breaker or fuse yourself? Why should you pay $60 to $100 for someone to change your oil when all you have to do is learn the basics and follow some simple safety guidelines, and with just basically 4 components, go ahead and take care of it yourself? And his attitude changed entirely. Because I told him, I said, you know what? I said, you don't see it now. I said, but later on, you're going to realize that part of you feeling good about yourself is your ability to handle things and to make things better than they were.
Fix things in your house.
Yeah, to fix anything, to take care of stuff. And I told him, I said, it's a given in all men in general that you have this part of you that wants to accomplish something, wants to do something, fix something,
and take care of,
to tend to
other people.
Yeah, it's it's in you, you know. And to those women that know how to play on that, to the ones that know how to, you know, that have been taught by their mothers to get a particular man in their life or whatever, the issue is to, you know, whether you really know how to handle something or not, is to provide him an opportunity to be the hero, to be the one to tend to take care of something, and that's usually how that game works.
Yeah, and it's good to do that for your sons too. Pass
Yeah.
on the opportunity
Oh my gosh, yeah.
to learn how to do
Yeah.
things at home.
For all that, the biggest problem that we have right now in society as a whole, all the stuff that's going on right now, where they talk about, you know, they say crazy stuff to go along with what society pushes as far as, you know, oh, we need more women in the workplace and all this other, and
women in science.
Yeah, I mean, what it's doing is it's shoving men out of places of position. I mean, you know, mechanics and all that. There's a reason why just mostly men were mechanics, is because women usually don't care about that stuff, let alone want to be in it. But there's been some finagling going on as far as how a lot of individuals think today, and they're going into fields that really they don't want to go in, but they're going in anyways because they're promised a job, quote unquote. You know, and to meet a quota or whatever, someplace may actually just be hiring women. A lot of this stuff that's going on, so-called affirmative action, has proven to be not very positive, both for the workplace, and if you really think about it, you see what's going on. It's all been basically targeting families. It's all about destroying the family.
Yeah.
For women in general, to them, success is not what it is of the labor they do with their hands, but it's what's based on relationship. With men, go figure, if you take in consideration of where everything started creation, we're more related to success by that which it is we do with our own hands, to what it is that we make or we create, to, you know, whatever it is, you know, our labor, occupation, vocation, that's part of our makeup. That's how we are made. When, for example, if a man does not take it upon himself to tend to his own, in the sense of, I don't care if it's you know, taking care of the place where they live, or it's even providing for them. This is wounding, and
if he's not able to.
yeah,
What's
oh
wounding?
yeah, Yeah, and if he's capable and he doesn't, there's a disconnect. There's something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because
may not have been taught by his father.
Yeah, may not have been taught by his father. He figured it out that how he feels about himself, his own self-image, is based upon a large amount of his identity.
Yeah,
is his ability to tend to take care of those whom he's responsible to and for, and that's in our nature. You know, you can try to program that all you want, but it doesn't fix things. It doesn't make things right. One of the greatest things that a man's supposed to do, man, I wish I would have dug those scriptures out. Next time I will. But it is written, and it says that he wants godly offspring. Part of a family
God wants
is to continue is to have a family.
Yeah.
And
hey, Vanessa.
And part of that is that guess who's supposed to be teaching them, instructing them? You are, O High Priest. You're supposed to be doing some of the instruction. You're supposed to be teaching them. And since you deal mostly with the things and the matters and the affairs of this world and this life, it'd be a good idea for you to tell them where the lines are drawn and how that they can live out there successfully and still keep up in good conscience what it is that they believe in.
We're glad you're here.
Because you know how it works. There's politics everywhere.
Eric Rauch just came on.
Yeah, there's nepotism everywhere.
Hi, Eric.
All that stuff's all over. And for the most part, even those that we know that love the Lord, they dress the part, they look the part, you know, whether it's a man bun, whatever the deal is, they find acceptance in that way, and it gives them an opening, specifically amongst the so-called institutions of higher learning, if they're employed by or live amongst, that, you know, it keeps them covert and gives them openings to speak into the lives of others, to reverse engineer or to deprogram those who have bought into a lot of stuff that are nothing but lies. It's interesting that a lot of these that are out there, that the words that I keep hearing back, is that in those places they deal with what they call what do they say, man children or man babies or something.
Yeah.
And then the reason why is because they don't have a clue of what to do about anything, and it's because they weren't taught some fundamentals of life. You know, they you know, if there's one thing as parents I think that we need to do, is to teach our children some self-sufficiency. And, you know, for the example, issues involving usage of the internet, things like that. I mean, you can block and you can protect all you want to, but the day's going to come when they're going to be on their own. And it'd be better for them to learn some self-discipline now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And even the issues of dealing with money, for them to learn to save up, to learn to practice some common sense with some finances. It would be good to teach them all this stuff now, and not necessarily keep them away from the things of this world or this life, but to help instruct them, to prepare them, so that when the time comes, they are on their own. They're not just completely going crazy like a lot of these kids do off in colleges and universities.
So how do we help them? The subtitle of the difference a father makes, calling out the magnificent destiny in your children. How do we help them make that transition from child to young adult? By the things that you're talking about, for one thing.
Part of that,
teaching them
part of
how
that
to
is
do things.
teaching them how to be independent, how to be responsible, have some responsibility, have some self-discipline.
You can kind of watch and see when they're ready.
As children, you can't tell them. You know, as children, you're the one that has to make the decision for them. They don't know enough. Cognitive skills, there's absolutely zero there. To teach them, to instruct them, to live by a means of which they can be proud of, to consider their own future. One gentleman had told me, Alan, friend of mine that I worked with for quite a while. He taught his own granddaughter and the rest of his kids how to do what he calls a fishbone. Now, it's the same thing like a timeline. Only except what it is as you're going along, you know, you say here's your zero, you know, when you're born, and you go all the way across until you're, you know, about around 100 or so, or 50, whatever. You got your 50 about right there in the middle of this timeline, and you got the end where you begin, where you're born, and where you die. And from there, he has them draw off branches of like, okay, you want to be a musician. Okay, where does that go, and what does it take to do that, and where will that lead you? And then the same thing where, okay, you want to go to college, you want to learn to be an attorney or a lawyer. Okay, how long is it going to take you? Where's it going to wind you? Where's it going to take you? And just teaching them something simple like that. Some of them they haven't picked up too fast, you know, some of his own. But the one granddaughter draws stuff out like this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Even from the school books that she picks and chooses for the classes that she wants to do or whatever. And you know, this girl ain't that old. She's not
very old.
No, she's not very old at all. I can't remember what the age was he told me, but
that's a good idea.
That impacted her.
Yeah.
Now the others, it'll probably do something for them later, but
yeah, we've tried
life
to do
skills
that with our kids to help them figure out what they want to be, and how they want to do to get to that place. And
everybody has something that you end up having to do. You have to pick up and take care of some general skill. There's nothing wrong with having something like that. And I don't care if it's simple food service or whatever. Everybody starts somewhere. But the main event is that your real work begins. You know, your occupation is just a launch pad for you to really get into what it is that you're called to be able to do.
That God has called you to do and equipped you and that He wants you to do, your destiny.
And it could be something in some form of, you know, some sort of creative form of art. Could be something, you know.
Ministry.
Well, the ministry could be something in dealing in areas of design. You know, a medical field. You know, a medical field. It's wide open.
Mm-hmm. I mean, wherever you are.
Yeah.
You have Jesus inside of you, and you let your light shine. You've been good at that. He's impacted a lot of people. But spiritually, with our kids too, with parents with their children.
It is important, and I know how easy it is that time can run away, but you need to instruct them. You need to teach them. You know, at least the fundamentals about even knowing about the issues of character. Teaching about, you know, just like the gospel says something that, you know a tree by its fruit. Well, it's interesting that even in the glance of Proverbs, that basically what it's saying is you listen hard enough to hear what they say and to see what they do and see who they associate with. Gives you a good idea of who they are. And coming to the area of trust, to know who's trustworthy, to know, you know, how important is it an issue of character? So, you know,
and you lead them to the Lord yourselves, and don't just think that the church is going to do that, or
it's good
Crunch. Sorry.
Yeah, it's good to take.
Pray together.
Yeah.
Have your kids pray with you.
Family that definitely does and prays together, that does things like that together. It's a lot more stronger, and you want to do that with them early, because as they get older, it gets harder if you have not already begun to instruct them, to teach them, to speak into their lives, to let them see, having God as a top priority should be the most important thing, period.
Yeah, and you make a habit of it when they're younger, then you don't have they won't balk at it as much when they get older.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So,
where are we at in our time?
24.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So, the role of both parents is a necessity. And single parenting is exceptionally difficult, but it's true that some man, their father or grandfather, whoever that you can trust, both for your sons, both for your daughters, need to have someone speak into their lives, someone to encourage them, someone to speak life to them.
Yeah, a male role model.
Someone to build them up, because as they become adults, it leaves holes. I'm not saying anybody who doesn't have a father in their life winds up in prison or in the graveyard. Certainly not. However, relationally, there's a lot of struggle. There's a lot of things that are left undone, and it causes problems relationally.
Yeah, it reminds me of the movie Irreplaceable that we saw, that Focus on the Family had in the theaters, that showed that fathers really are important. That somehow we've gotten the idea that it's okay to have them, but they're not really that necessary. They don't do that much, and they're portrayed in TV shows as idiots, and the moms are awesome, if I must say so myself. Moms do a lot and are very capable, but we can't be fathers. We just can't. We can be mothers. We can be the nurturers and comforters and take care of their boo-boos and take care of them as they're young. But when they do get older, and when they're younger too, the father needs to be active and they need to know their daddy very well, even when they're young. But as they get older, they really need some toughness. They need some courage to take risks that moms in general aren't that good at encouraging. We just want to keep our kids safe. So I think that's it for tonight. We're so thankful to have Gary home, and thank you for watching tonight. And we should be on next Friday too. Still praying for another job. So if you think of us, please pray that Gary gets a job here in Houston instead of somewhere else, Wisconsin or Dallas or Timbuktu.
Yeah, we're done touring. I'm done touring.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Kay. And if Betty's still here, and Eric, thank you for coming too. We will see you next week for Relationally Speaking. Thank you, Vanessa. I'm praying for you too.
Have a good evening, everybody.
Bye.